Hey guys, CryptoDad here again. Thanks for joining me on the Friday live stream, live from Michigan, where you can throw out questions and I'll do my best to get them answered. We're going to talk about the Stax cryptocurrency hardware wallet from Ledger that they announced back in November of last year. And it was supposed to be shipping in March and has been delayed. So I wanted to fill you in on the details of that. And of course, I'll take questions for anything that might be on your mind. So let's jump in. All right, welcome everybody. I'm here with the rig and the Bitcoin logo in the background. I just got some bad news this morning. The Ledger Stax has been delayed. So I didn't see anything about it in the news, but I did receive the email from Ledger. So I'm going to go over the email and talk about what it means for those of us who have ordered the Stax and where we stand, what's the status. And for those of us who use the Ledger NFT, the Ledger Market NFT to claim our Ledger Stax using the NFT, we got a little bit of good news, I guess, if you can call it that. So we'll talk about that. First, I'd like to welcome everybody that's here today. Let's go over here. And I'm on the wrong screen. Yeah, I see it. Let's see if we can't switch that. Okay, I think I can do it this way. No, I guess I can't. Oh, okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Just reconfigured my OBS studio. I know that my regular viewers have been going through the ringer as well, along with me, with this issue that I've been having with my OBS studio. And as it turns out, it was a software issue related to OBS Studio. I don't know that you could call it a bug in OS Studio because I did a clean install and it appears to have fixed it. I did get my ISP over here and we went back and forth. I explained my issue to him honestly. Luckily for me, I got a very nice gentleman who had been working with them for quite some time and helped me troubleshoot a little bit. And we checked the internet connection. The internet connection was fine. And so he offered me some suggestions about where I have my network cables plugged in and so forth, so on and so forth. And then the main thing that kind of really helped me along, let me turn this dumb thing off. Sorry about that. The one thing that really helped me along was he asked me if I had a secondary device like a laptop, which I do. And so after he left, I broke out that laptop, connected it to my network, fired up OBS Studio, connected the stream, and it was smooth as silk. And that made me realize that it had something to do with my machine, right? It wasn't my network. It wasn't my internet. But it was a disconnect reconnect that had me thinking that it must be some kind of internet or connection issue or network issue. And I went right past the software issue, which was, okay, I'll just do a clean install of OBS Studio, and it worked. Because it was working fine on my laptop. So I'm like, well, if it works on my laptop, let me try a clean install. And so here we are, just reconfigured OBS Studio. We should be up and running. Thank you so much for all of your patience. So the first thing W is asking is, what is the Ledger Stax? Well, the Ledger Stax is a new Ledger device that was announced back in November. It's a brand new cryptocurrency hardware wallet. This is their page. It's a touchscreen device that will allow you to, it works just like any ledger would work. It holds the private keys and you use it to store your private keys, verify your hardware connection to your accounts and also authorize outgoing transactions, trades, purchases, that kind of stuff, right? So it's brand new, was just announced, but unfortunately is delayed. So I'd like to read the, I want to thank a few people. Double W, thanks for being here. Wayne C, thanks for being here. As it turns out, it wasn't an ISP problem. They did come. They were very nice. Is Robinhood wallet safe? I haven't tried it yet. That word, again, safe. Supposedly it's a self-custody wallet, but I don't use Robinhood, so and I haven't tried it out, so I can't really speak to that. But if it is a self-custody wallet, I would assume it's as safe as any other wallet, but like I said, I haven't checked it. Always protect your private keys. If your Ledger Nano X says cannot charge and you go through the support bot, it's useless and they don't have any support number to help with to fix that. You're going to have to go on their website and fill out a support ticket. You can't just pick up the phone and call somebody at Ledger. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not going to get anybody on the phone to walk you through it. And if your device is defective, you need another device. Now, I have given this advice to several people who said that it wasn't that difficult to do. So swallow your pride, give up the idea of talking to a human being, and go to Ledger Support. Ledger Support. There's Ledger Support, right? And then there's a Contact Us right here. Boom, Contact Us. Contact them, right? Just got to go through the motions to get your device replaced. From what I understand, it doesn't take that long to get a response to a service request when you go through the proper channels. Just give up the idea of getting someone on the phone. If your device is defective, it won't charge, you need a new device. My suggestion, if you've got a lot of crypto on the line, is just order a new device, restore it using your 24-word recovery phrase, and then deal with your defective device and getting it replaced. You never know. It could take a week. It could take a month. And, in the meantime, you can't access your crypto. So swallow your pride, order another device to get access to your crypto. Oh, I don't want to spend another $150. Okay. Well, how much crypto is in limbo? $5,000 worth of crypto, $10,000 worth of crypto. What if you need to sell? What if you need to buy? Right? So if you got a bunch of crypto on the line, then buy another device so you'll have it. And then when you get your old device replaced, you'll have two. And then you'll have another device that you can use as a mirror backup. That's my advice on that. Yes, great, Ken. I'm glad to hear everything's running smooth. Button stuck on first Nano S, got hold of Ledger. They sent a new one free of charge. Thank you, Barry. I appreciate that. There is justice in this world. Anyway, let me read this email. This is from Ian over at Ledger. I'm not going to play the video. Thank you for pre-ordering a Stax. If you pre-ordered a Stax and you were hoping that you would get it in March, your hopes have been dashed. If you haven't ordered a Stax yet, I believe they've closed the pre-order. They were overloaded with demand for this new device, and so I don't even think you can pre-order it anymore. But for those of us who did manage to pre-order and are waiting, this pertains to us. The response to Ledger Stax has been phenomenal. Thank you sincerely for your interest and your willingness to pre-order to be first in line to receive this one. Ledger Stax has a first-of-its-kind curved e-ink display, and we want to make sure we are uncompromising on device quality as we are on security. As much as we wanted to have Ledger Stax in March, it's taking more time than we had hoped to get this innovative screen into your hands. We are working around the clock with the manufacturer to get these to you as soon as possible. We expect to start shipping the first batch of Ledger Stax in a couple months' time. So This is March 3rd. If we use the most of the time when people say a couple, they mean two. So we got March, April, May. So we're looking at May as the new shipping estimate, right? Now, sometimes when people say a couple, they mean 2 or 3. So we could see June, right? So we have to be patient. Now, when did they start the pre-orders is the question. And I believe I ordered mine on December 3rd, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they announced them. Well, you know what? Yeah, let's look at my YouTube videos. If we go back here and we look at my videos. Oh, I did a live one, I believe, when they first came out. Yeah, the new Ledger Stax, December 6th. So that was when the pre-order went live. And I ordered mine on December 6th. So if you ordered yours on December 6th, then you might be looking at 2 months. You might be looking at 3 months. If you didn't order yours till later, like maybe late December, early January, mid-January, then you could be looking even further down the road. Now, they do say that, let's not do that. Those who claimed their Ledger Stax via NFT before the end of February will be sent their Ledger Stax first. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I guess it doesn't pertain to you. But they did have this thing. Let's see. Here we go. They did have this Ledger Market NFT that you bought way back in mid 2022, and that Ledger Market NFT entitled you to additional NFTs. The first one was included, because the Ledger Market NFT was a couple $100. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like. There. This is my Ledger Market NFT. Come on, baby. Yeah, it's an NFT that entitles you to other NFTs and exclusive opportunities to get new NFTs, that sort of thing, right? So if you bought that, the first thing you got was a black-on-black Ledger Nano X Market Edition that they gave you the NFT for that. That's this thing, right? Black on black, pretty cool. That NFT was given to you as free as long as you purchased the Market Edition, right? Then when the Stax was released, you were eligible to purchase a Stax NFT claim, but you had to buy that, right? So in addition to plopping down money for the Ledger Market NFT, you had to purchase the Ledger Stax NFT on top of that. That Ledger Stax NFT was redeemable for a Ledger Stax pre-order of a real Ledger Stax, right? So I have 2 on order. The first one was the pre-order on the day that they released the pre-order, and my second one was my Ledger Stax claim, which I did. What is the date of this video? I don't know why it's like you can't see the date of these when you're in that interface there. December 20 was when. So those of you who claimed your Stax using the NFT are supposedly first in line. Well, first in line from 2 months from today, if a couple means 2, means that you might get if you ordered it via NFT, you might get your Ledger Stax March, April, in May, right? Or it might ship out in May. Well, the shipping only takes a few days, right? So hopefully, if when they say a couple, they mean 3, and you use the NFT to claim and you're first in line, you still might not get your Ledger Stax until June. Who knows? And those of us who ordered the Ledger Stax pre-order on the webpage the very first day or week of the release might be waiting until late June, who God knows, June, July, for all we know, right? So that's the status update. Now, in addition to this email, they also gave me a code for 10% off anything at the Ledger store. And I'm assuming for everyone else that ordered a Ledger Stax, they also got this. I ordered 2, so maybe I'll get another email. I don't know. Maybe they only sent 1 out to each user. It's a one use only, one time, so I'm not going to scroll down anymore and reveal it, right? But why don't we, I'm going to pop chat over here, and I want to get your thoughts on what you think about the delay and opinions, that sort of thing. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Let me move my screen over here just for a tad here. First, I'm going to add chroma key to this baby. Yeah, I'm just getting set up, guys. Whoops. Okay. Thought I disappeared there for a minute. Okay, so just a little housekeeping on my part. You know, for those of you who are just jumping in, I solved my OBS issue with a clean install of OBS. I should have tried that much sooner, but the nature of the problem with the disconnect and reconnect fooled me into thinking that it had to be some kind of network issue, either my home network, my internet connection, or something to do with the YouTube streaming server. I didn't know, but those were what I was focusing on. And as it turns out, after my ISP guy came and, you know, we tested everything and determined that there was no problem with my internet, he suggested that I check with my laptop to see if I can stream from the laptop, and sure enough, I could. I have a copy of OBS Studio on my laptop for when I'm out of town, and it ran like a charm right next to my desktop, right? I just had an extra Ethernet cable that I have plugged into a secondary desktop down here on the floor, and I plugged that into my laptop, and boom, it ran like a charm, right? So then I realized, oh, it's not a network issue. It's not a YouTube issue. It's not an internet issue. It's got to be something with my machine. I tried a couple of different ports, which didn't solve the issue. And then I did a clean install of OBS, and lo and behold, we're back in business, right? So Ledger support says takes 2 weeks to reply. Oh, well. I didn't think it was that bad. Barry, I think there's a way to submit a support ticket. You might, if you're in the bot, you might ask them if they could send you a link to the support ticket that gives you a web form where you give them your name and everything, and then like you can describe. I'm assuming they have something like that. Rob, first time seeing me live. Wanted to say thank you for all the great content you produce. You have helped me many times when I was learning about crypto. Thank you very much, Rob. I'm going to try to start doing a few live streams on during the week around this time, because also I wanted to, Amsterdam Holland, who may or may not still be in the stream, let you know that I am still committed to my Saturday night live stream. I know I have a lot of regular viewers that I have noticed over time have very loyally been there with me for 2 hours every Saturday night. I find it hard to believe that I'm able to hang out with you guys for, set aside 2 hours every Saturday night, but I've committed to that several years back. I made that commitment to myself and my channel and my viewers that I would always do a live stream. And we decided it was going to be on Saturday night. It did change times when I moved from California to Michigan, but I will continue to do that. Now, having said that, I will not be doing the Saturday night live stream this Saturday, tomorrow night, because that's my daughter's birthday, and I didn't want to have to work around the live stream, right? We want to take her out. She gets to choose where we want to go out to dinner. So I decided that I would, I would set aside that whole day for her. We're going to celebrate her birthday. I will be doing my live stream on Sunday night this week. If you look here, I've got it scheduled for Sunday night at 6. So I will be doing the live stream on Sunday night at 6. Also, like I mentioned, I'm going to try to start doing some live streams on during the week around this time, because we drop our kids off in the morning and we get back home around 9 or 9:30. So I'm thinking maybe a 10 or 10:30 live stream during the week for those who it's more convenient to join me during the week. Let's see. They need to lower the price of the stacks if they want people to buy enough of them to stack them. LMFAO. Yeah. The price is high. It's a high price point. I don't know if they'd have had better luck delivering them if they had charged more and had more money to buy more materials or whatever, they needed to get this thing done. I'm a little disappointed that, they were saying, oh, we want to make sure it's the best quality and blah, 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 and all that other stuff that they always say. But they announced this thing back in November, and they've had several months to get all their ducks in a row. Not to mention that, but if somebody came into your office and said, okay, I got an idea for a new product, we're going to, wouldn't you square away all of the supply chain and the manufacturing and, get a realistic estimate of when you could deliver this product before you even announced it? I mean, why, and yeah, okay, a lot of people wanted it and their demand was higher than they thought, and they weren't able to deliver X amount of product or X plus over their original intent, right? I get that, right? But why is it that the very first batch can't be delivered on time? It just doesn't make any sense to me that they would, and this is the top cryptocurrency hardware wallet company in the world. And it's an innovative product, wonderful, but why make the announcement if you're not able to deliver it within the time frame that you're promised people? They had an overwhelming response, and now everybody's going to go sour because, it's getting delayed for 2 months. Plus, if it's going to be delayed 2 months, seriously? 2 months? Maybe I can understand, okay, it's going to be another 2 weeks. That's a little, easier to swallow, but another couple of months? And they didn't say 2 months. They said a couple. So that leaves them some wiggle room to maybe say, oh, well, we said a couple, couple, 2.5, 3, whatever. Thank God they didn't say several months. But it would have been better if they'd have said exactly 2 months, right? We're not going to be shipping stacks until March or April, May 15 or whatever. Give us a timeline, right? Even the original announcement was March of 2023. So was that early March, late March, mid-March? We had no idea, right? When March hit, my first thought was, oh, the Stax will be shipping sometime this month, but I doubt it'll be March 1st, right? And then here we are, March 3rd, and now they're saying, oh, we're not even going to be able to ship in March, period, right? It's going to be another couple of months before we can even ship the first copy, just a disappointment, right? I don't know that the 10% is going to assuage people's frustration, because if you've already pre-ordered Stax, you've already paid for it, and now they're saying, oh, we'll make you feel better by giving you 10% off anything else you want to buy. Like, what do I want to buy anything else for? I'm waiting on a Stax. Granted, you can use other ledgers to back up your Stax. You can use other ledger devices to be mirror backups of your Stax, just like you can use a Ledger Nano Plus as a mirror backup of your Ledger Nano X. But most of the people that bought the Stax, I would assume, are regular Ledger users already, probably already have a device. There may be a certain percentage of people that ordered the Stax having never ordered any kind of Ledger device before. I'm sure, because it is an innovative product. But I'm still pretty frustrated that, and for me personally, I was planning on doing an unboxing and review of this product, and was planning on getting a lot of exposure and getting a lot of YouTube views based on this review, because that's my bread and butter, reviewing wallets. And, I don't do price predictions and coin evals. I do wallet evals and unboxing and setup instructional videos. And this one would have given me a lot of content, right? The unboxing, the setup, transferring back and forth. I could have done another video on the recovery process, the mirror backup procedures. I mean, I was looking at doing a lot of great content related to this device once I got my hands on it, and now it looks like it might be a while. Crypto Francis, I work in a similar industry. Management always overpromises and does not listen to the engineering team. Yeah, I can understand that. I updated my Ledger Nano S firmware, and now all of the apps are uninstalled. I had to install them again. Is this normal? Normally, wait a minute. I updated your firmware, and that's an old Ledger Nano S. The new firmware updater for the Ledger Nano S and X used to... Oh, well, I'm sorry. Let me back up. Originally, the Ledger Nano S or X firmware update wiped all of your apps. That was just how it worked, and you had to reinstall them manually. That was perfectly normal. They since have updated the firmware process, and now when you run the firmware update, I guess before it actually does the firmware update, it takes note of the apps that you have installed. And when you are finished with the Ledger firmware update, there is a button that says reinstall my apps. Now, it is possible to skip that screen. I had someone that contacted me and said that they inadvertently skipped that step. So you may have gotten the button and skipped it, and then found out that your device had no apps on it. Another thing that might have happened to you, since it is a Ledger Nano S, and it may have been a while since you updated your firmware. I don't know your situation, but if it had been maybe a year or so since you had updated your firmware, you may have gotten a incremental update, right? Because if your firmware is out of date to a certain point, you cannot even use the latest firmware updater. And generally what will happen in that situation, this has happened over their history too, is that they have like a pivotal firmware update. And anybody below that has to update to that version before they can run the latest firmware update. So maybe what happened to you is that you updated your firmware, but it detected that you had a really old version of the firmware as far as it was concerned, and only updated you to, instead of the latest firmware version, maybe like somewhere in between. And that updater wiped your apps. It's not a deal breaker to have your apps get wiped. It's not going to kill you. All you have to do is reinstall your apps. I don't know how many apps you had, but generally the easiest thing to do is just go down. It did not erase the firmware update does not touch your Ledger Live accounts. So you should have all of your Ledger Live accounts intact, unless you thought you needed to wipe your Ledger Live. Some people do that as well. They just go, they think they need to do that, but they don't, right? So if you ran a firmware update, you should still have your Ledger Live accounts, and then you just go through each account and look at the corresponding app that you need, right? So, okay, I got a Polygon account, I need the Polygon app. I got a Cosmos account, I need the Cosmos Atom app. I got the Solana app, I need to reinstall the Solana app on my device, right? So this is a pretty decent guide as to the apps you need to reinstall. And once you've reinstalled the apps, everything will be fine, right? I'm going to enter my PIN here real quick just so we can, because I was talking about, firmware update versions, that sort of thing. I just want to kind of make that clear. All right. So I'm going to go to the My Ledger section here. I have my device connected and my PIN is entered, and I need to, authorize that by hitting both buttons. All right. So the current version of the Ledger Nano X software is version 2.1. I don't have my Ledger Nano S around here, but I will tell you that historically there was a version of the Ledger Nano S, the old device, that I think was, let's just say it was 1.2. And once you got to 1.2, they changed the way the firmware update worked after that. And so after that, you would get, the firmware would get updated to the latest version. But if you had something less than 1.2 of your firmware, let's say your firmware was version 1.02 or something old, you could not do the latest firmware update. What would happen when you connected your device is it would update you to firmware version 1.2. And then after you did that, it would immediately tell you needed to update your firmware again, because now you're running, you're above that, the required version of the firmware in order to run the latest firmware update. So something like that may have happened to Utilmo. Crypto Francis, testing is key. Somebody screwed up, and the good thing is that they found an issue before it's out. Well, that's true. I guess we can be thankful that they didn't ship them and they weren't working right? They did mention quality in the email, right? Oh, we want to make sure that, we're up to the standards of quality and what that, but we don't know exactly. I mean, they're always going to give us some kind of explanation, but it may be that it was something on the outside that they thought they had sourced that they couldn't get in time, or some like process, like the last piece of the puzzle is that they need to slap them in the outer frame or whatever, and all the inside stuff's done. We don't know, right? Or it could be something more integral, right? They discovered that there was an issue with the circuit board or whatever, and then they needed to get better silicon somewhere or whatever. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, it's better that they discovered that they had an issue that was going to delay initial launch, as opposed to going through the initial launch and having that be, you know, a cluster F. You know, those things have happened. So is there, I'll go ahead. I'm going to, after you update your firmware and reinstall all of your apps, sometimes it will also show you that you have updates for your apps. The app updates are also very important whenever, and especially the Bitcoin one, because there are some other apps that sort of depend on the Bitcoin app. So if you see the dot here on the My Ledger section, you should always connect your device and go into the My Ledger section dealing with your device, right? All of the other stuff up here is related to your wallet and the public-facing aspect of the wallet, and the accounts, which are basically the public part of the wallet where you can manage your balance and that sort of stuff. But this little section right here, the My Ledger section, deals with the device itself, right? And you want to make sure that the device is always up to date, right? So we've got our Ledger Nano X firmware, tells me the firmware is up to date, and but it also says that there's some apps that are out of date. So we'll go ahead and run the update. Let me zoom in here. I'll take a sip of this. No one's said anything for a bit, so I'm just hoping that I'm still connected. Okay, everybody's still here. All right, that's good news. Let's see what we got. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit. I have this camera over here, and it's got one of these gorilla tripods on there with, I don't know, was it monkey tripod or whatever it is? Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. Well, first of all, we want to face the right direction. Okay, we're going to do that. Okay. And I want to do this a little. Just get this thin and do that. And that. And that. And now we can do this, right? We want this bigger. Come on, baby. Where are you? Okay, there you are. Okay, that's acceptable, right? So we get into the desktop screen. We enter the My Ledger section, and then we just do an update all. And you will see progress on the device shortly. Any day now, you'll see progress on your device. Whoops. Okay, yeah, just hold it a little closer there. Okay. I kind of like it when you can see it here and in my hand, right? It makes it a little more down to earth, right? You kind of get what's going on. Okay, there. So the Bitcoin app has been updated. Everything looks kosher. And oh yeah, the dot is gone over here. So we're done, right? Everything's up to date. That's great. We can go over to our accounts. Everything's cool. We can go to our portfolio, take a look at everything that's going on in the portfolio. Everything's good, right? Okay. Let me go back over here. Would be cool if every time you used your ledger, no matter which one, it would automatically update firmware software. Yeah, I mean, it always alerts you that it needs to be updated. And I guess the reason they don't do it auto is that there are people out there that are a little, I don't want to say paranoid, but like afraid, or they want to get something done and they don't want to have to stop and do the firmware. And the firmware generally works fine. I don't know that I've ever had I have never had a device brick on me during the firmware update. I may have had the device stuck in bootloader mode once, maybe twice. And there's a way to get around that, right? And usually you can disconnect it and reconnect it. And there's some things you can do to get yourself unstuck from bootloader mode. But the issue is that there is a slight possibility that something could happen to your device during the firmware update. And so to force people into the firmware update might not be good for their reputation, because a regular user that gets their device stuck in bootloader mode or completely bricked, and because of the firmware update, would be pretty upset if they were forced into the firmware update. Right. So they alert you that the firmware update is available and advisable, but they don't really auto do it. And they can't really auto do it because it does require some user intervention. It requires you to allow Ledger Manager. It requires you at one point to enter your PIN in order to proceed. So there is some user intervention that needs to take place during the firmware update. So they can't just kind of do it in the background. But it would be cool if they could. There is less user intervention than there used to be. You used to have to disconnect it and reconnect it and do all kinds of weird button holding stuff. Now it stays connected the entire time, and the only user thing you have to do is at one point you have to re-enter your PIN. And then it goes, now of course it reinstalls all of your apps for you as well, which is nice. So you don't have to go through reinstalling the apps. And a lot of people that were new when they ran their firmware update and they noticed afterwards that all of their apps were gone were horrified that all of their crypto was gone. I got a lot of questions from people in the comments and in emails that, hey, I just updated my firmware and all my crypto's gone. Help! And I was like, your crypto's not really gone. All you have to do is reinstall the apps. That's it. It wasn't that big of a deal. But to an end user who's brand new, it was terrifying, right? So they fixed that, right? They put that auto reinstaller in there at the end, which helped that process. But there are a lot of people that are still very trepidatious about the firmware update. A lot of people still ask me, should I do the firmware update? I'm like, yes, of course you should. But, they hear rumors and they think, oh, God, something could happen to my device during the firmware update. And they're not wrong. It has been known to cause issues. Whether, I think more than, if it's going to cause an issue, it's usually the stuck in bootloader mode issue. I don't know how. I think it's rare that the device gets bricked completely and needs to be replaced because of in the middle of the firmware update. But I know it's not out of the realm of possibility. Okay, so that was it. I wanted to thank everybody for being here. To recap, the Ledger Stax is delayed, according to Ledger, by a couple of months. If you pre-ordered a Stax, you should get an email from them telling you that your Stax has been delayed, and it's going to be a couple months. And then also, if you claimed your Stax with the Ledger Market Stax NFT, then you're first in line. So, and that, if you claimed it with the NFT before February, I think they said. Right. So I don't have any news stories to link to. We can look here. There's the, this is the email that I got explaining that they're going to be delayed for a couple months. So pretty bad news. No problem. Let's see. I needed some ERC20 WETH on my ledger to buy an NFT through Metamask. I successfully converted them and Metamask could see it okay. Ledger Live could not. When I tried to convert the WETH transaction, Ledger Live popped up an ETH transaction instead. If I clicked OK, the NFT website produced an error, of course. So I was stuck, and Ledger Support said that Ledger Live supports ERC20 WETH, but in fact it does not. I think when they say supports WETH, wrapped ETH, they just mean that if you store wrapped ETH in your Ethereum wallet, you'll see it. That's their support for wrapped ETH. So, I mean, if you have an Ethereum wallet and you want to add a token of wrapped WETH, right, they support it. It's basically an ERC20 token. But as far as when you are making a transaction from within MetaMask with a ledger attached wallet, right? So you're in you're in MetaMask and you're using a ledger account, right? So you could be using a non-ledger account. Let me go over to the Ethereum here. You could be using a non-ledger account, and then you don't need to authorize on the device, right? Or you could be using you went to this Connect hardware, you connected your hardware device, and you're making some kind of transaction using this wallet connected. Sometimes it launches Ledger Live. Now, it used to always launch Ledger Live when you did that, and Ledger Live kind of needed to authorize the transaction. But I thought that they didn't do that. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't buy NFTs. That area is a little risky. All of the NFTs that I ever bought with my hard-earned money are pretty much worthless. I didn't have enough to buy. Every time I thought that I was gonna, this thing just came out, I'm gonna grab it now while it's hot and fresh, and I've never made any money on NFTs. So I'm not a regular NFT trader, but I thought that you could make transactions on, say, in OpenSea or Rarible from within MetaMask without it launching Ledger Live, and you just authorize on the device. And then also in your, you said you bought, I needed some and Ledger to buy an NFT through MetaMask. You converted them and MetaMask could see it okay. Ledger Live could not. So you're saying that I think I have a, yeah. Okay, so I have an account that's got wrapped ETH in it. It's just some dust left over. And I get what you mean by, okay, I see it in MetaMask, right? But if you're using a ledger-based account, this account is not connected to a ledger at all. So you want to make sure that in your MetaMask, you are actually connected to the account. And I have several accounts, you can see. Make sure that you are in fact connected to the account that is the ledger device, right? But even if I had bought some wrapped ETH, it should show up in Ledger Live. So let's just, for grins and giggles, go over here to Uniswap. All right, I need to be in the Ethereum app over here. right? I need to be in the Ethereum app if I'm going to do anything in a DeFi app. Right? I need to connect my wallet. Make sure that the Metamask wallet that we're using is the active wallet is my Ledger wallet, right? I'm just going to go ahead and make this big so you guys can see it better. We'll go ahead and connect our wallet. All right, using Metamask, and make sure that the Ledger account is ticked, which it is. All right. Now I want to buy some WETH. Right? I don't want to go crazy here, but I can do a 0.05, which I believe, yeah, let's just do 0.02. Yeah, it's just a little bit, right? I'll go ahead and do this wrap, and I'll authorize it in MetaMask. It's going to cost me $5, but I'm just going to do this so you can see what's going on. Okay, I got to enable blind signing. All right. Let's go over to settings. Let's click both buttons to enable blind signing. And then let's go back out of this, if I can get out. Okay, back, and then hit both buttons. All right, let's try it again. All right. We'll confirm this, right? It's about $5 worth. And then we review. We go ahead and do that. Blind signing is enabled. We'll do accept and send. And I'm done with the device now. Okay, and it looks like now we have, oh, it still says pending. Okay, boom, there, it's done. All right, so now when we check MetaMask, it should have found some tokens. Found a bunch of tokens, okay. But wrapped ETH should be in there too, right? ST ETH. I don't see wrapped ETH in there at all. Okay. Okay, there, it found it. There it is, wrapped ETH. All right, so I have wrapped ETH successfully purchased using MetaMask with my Ledger-based account. So I should see that in Ledger Live, right? So if I go back over to my Ledger Live wallet, do a resync, I think there should be less ETH in there now. Okay, see there, we've got a little less ETH. And so we should see some wrapped ETH in here. And there it is down there at the bottom, WETH. Right? So WETH is supported in Ledger Live. If you converted some ETH into wrapped ETH, you should see it in your Ledger Live wallet, although it's really not going to do you a whole bunch of good whether you see it in Ledger Live or not, because you're over here in MetaMask trying to buy NFTs. And I don't know why it forced you to launch Ledger Live instead of just having you confirm on the device. C'est la vie. I hope that was helpful. I don't know that it solved your issue. It looked like something happened in the middle of the transaction. Something didn't go through all the way. Make sure you have blind signing enabled, all that stuff. I just showed you my wrapped ETH in Ledger Live. There it is right there, wrapped ETH. So it cannot ask you to authorize something it cannot see. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why it launched Ledger Live when you were making your NFT swap, but I'm not going to go buy an NFT. Sorry. But generally, you should be able to execute an NFT purchase within MetaMask without it launching Ledger. It used to do that. You might want to make sure that you're running the latest version of the firmware and Ledger Live, because they did have this interface that forced Ledger Live to launch in order to authorize certain transactions. But they don't do that anymore, I don't think. Make sure the browser you're using is up to date. Make sure your Metamask is up to date. All that stuff. Yeah, I would not, thinking that everything that happens is Ledger's fault and that Ledger support should be there for you immediately is just going to lead you to a lot of frustration. I would sort of try to disconnect yourself from that mindset that Ledger needs to help me. If you could just connect yourself to the mindset that, okay, there's an issue, I'll figure it out by doing some research online, I'll check Reddit, I'll check the Rarible support, I'll read some articles or whatever. But this whole mindset of anytime something goes wrong, you need to pick up the phone and get a hold of Ledger, and it's all Ledger's fault. You're never gonna be a happy person if that's your mindset. I'm not trying to criticize you or anything. I'm just saying that Ledger they make a wallet, right? They're not there to support, your Rarible transactions, unfortunately. If there's they're there. If there's a problem with the wallet, they'll solve it, but they can't walk you through all of the issues that might arise while you're trying to buy an NFT. I'll give you an example from my experience. I used to sell Apple computers at an Apple retailer back in the 90s, right? And we sold a lot of Apple computers, right? And so if the user had a problem with his computer, Apple supported their OS and their hardware, right? So they could bring it back in and get it repaired if there was a problem with their computer. But sometimes I'd have musicians come in and they buy a Mac and then they go put an audio capture card in there, and then it wouldn't work right. And then they'd bring it back to us and say, I want to return this computer because it's not doing what it was supposed to do. Or they would buy some software and then it wouldn't work for them, and they'd say, I want to return this because it's not doing what I wanted it to do. Well, what you wanted it to do was above and beyond the machine itself. The machine itself was working fine. The OS was working fine. Generally, they'd bring it into the shop. The tech guy would wipe the disk clean and reinstall the Mac OS clean, and then put it through its paces and say it works fine. And so you can't expect the manufacturer to support all of the additional stuff you're doing. I know I hate that. Oh, JDO's here. Yeah, the smooth stream. What if you have two ledgers at the same time with two sets of keys on your Ledger Live app or on your phone? Is everything both Ledger devices show up in one Ledger Live app? Yes. You can manage multiple devices that have different configurations from within Ledger Live, right? You'll notice I've got a Ledger Live account down here that's associated with my Ledger Nano S. It works just fine. They don't conflict with each other. The only thing you need to remember is that when you're managing the account that's associated with the secondary device, then you better have that secondary device connected. And if you're managing accounts that are associated with your primary device, then when you start managing those accounts, make sure your primary device is attached. If you have the wrong device attached when you go to manage any of your accounts, Ledger will let you know with a very weird error message, So yes, it is possible to manage two separate devices with two separate seed phrases, all within the same copy of Ledger Live. Just add a new account and have the other device attached. And now you can see here I've got an account that is associated with a different device, right? And if I try to do a receive on that, with the wrong device attached, right? First, it'll tell me to open the Litecoin app. Should. Oh, it's installing Litecoin, which is not on this app. But even once it installs Litecoin, it's going to find out that that account is not associated with this device, right? It's going to go, right? So there's a solution to this. Just make sure you have the right device attached when you go to manage your assets in that account. And yes, you can have multiple accounts with multiple devices. You could conceivably have an infinite number of devices within the same copy of Ledger Live. Might get a little confusing, but you can do it. Thanks for jumping in, JDO. I was pretty much winding this down. The main focus of this was the Ledger Stax has been delayed, and we talked about that a little bit and what it means and what your options are. And Ledger has given everyone that pre-ordered a Stax a 10% discount code, one-time use only, as a consolation prize. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. I hope that I was able to help, and I hope you don't get too frustrated trying to deal with this product. It's an emerging technology. We're in the early stages, so yeah, it's going to be cryptic and hard to deal with, and not very user friendly. It's getting better, but it's still, you're kind of on your own in many senses. So I hope that I was able to help a little bit. I do have a video on using Rarible, I believe, or OpenSea that might be helpful, right? It's a step-by-step on how you purchase OpenSea. Purchase an NFT on OpenSea using a Ledger device attached. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I just did this one as a standalone. Oh, no, I have it. It says connect Ledger hardware wallet to Metamask. So yeah, this is a step-by-step on that process, right? I think I actually made a purchase during this video. Could be wrong. Make sure you've got the device connected. Make sure you have blind signing enabled. Make sure everything is up to date. Your browser's up to date. Metamask is up to date. Ledger Live is up to date. Your firmware is up to date. Your Ethereum app is up to date. Just like dot all your I's and cross all your T's and see if hopefully that might fix your issue. Maybe it's not recognizing the device. Disconnect, reconnect, try a different cable, all kinds of stuff. Thank you, Kenneth. Thank you for your email today. Keep those news stories coming. Sorry I won't be here on Saturday. It's my daughter's birthday, but I do have the next live stream scheduled for Sunday night this week. Right, so please don't forget to join me on Sunday night at 6, regular time, and then next week after that we'll be back on Saturdays. Thanks, Kenneth. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I revealed my discount code during this. I don't know. I'm probably not going to use it anyway. I got enough Ledger stuff. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, and thanks again. Oh, I think I got this end screen ready. Yeah, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it. When you subscribe, there's a little bell that you can click that will allow you to be alerted whenever I post new content. Once again, thanks for joining me.